Welcome to the S.P.E.D Force podcast. Are we ready, guys? You got him. Okay.
Yes, you first, Detox.
It's your boy Detox.
It's your boy, AK Bird.
And I'm B-Lot. Okay, what is our topic for today, guys? I think,
Well,
Detox, you suggested it, yeah?
yeah.
I wanted to talk about the status of the current education system that is being implemented.
Oh, that's a very, very deep, sordid tale. So, where do we even start with that? Do we want to start with the top or the bottom?
Okay, so what makes us qualified to even talk about this topic?
Oh, hey, yeah, qualifiers.
Yeah, so Detox, what did you...
Anyone want to go first?
What makes you qualified to talk about the education system? Because this is yours, right?
Oh,
I think we're all educators, yeah? Right?
Yeah, I'll start. I was a public and private school educator for 3.5 school years.
And so for me, I worked as I'm not gonna go into very specifics, but as I would say a TA for at least like 5 years, right? I think that's fair, right?
I would say you were at least a part-time teacher. That's most appropriate.
I was a part-time teacher when, I was at the last year of, of my, the day I wanted to end it. Because they had, I had to work, I had to actually teach a class, make lesson plans, do all that shit. Like, I'm not supposed to do that as a TA, but yeah.
Well,
do
let's
all that
just
complicated stuff, including
let's
like video editing and all that stuff. So it was a lot that last year. But
Yeah.
what about you, Detox? What makes you qualified?
I have previous experience with helping people with homework. Math was a specialty of mine. At a certain point in my life, I was also creating math lesson plans. I was running a math class through Zoom for an extended period of time, mentored by somebody who is thebomb.com. So I feel like, especially all three of us, knowing what we were brought up with in the education system versus what we see now, I think there's a lot of, what is the term I would like to use, dichotomy that we can identify.
You mean stupid people around? Yeah, I agree.
Like, I get the whole thing of implementing new ideas, but I'm also with the thing, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, interesting there. I have a very different opinion there. I think the system is completely fucking broken and needs an absolute overhaul.
I think they need to pay teachers more money. That's my opinion.
I agree with that.
I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, all of us being educators, I think, like, they're severely underpaid. Like,
Okay. For example, in my time as a teacher, I wasn't just a teacher. I was also basically a counselor, a babysitter, and also a data analyst. Like, I'm wearing 4 or 5 different hats, and then I gotta play the bureaucracy, school politics of the departments and all that stuff. Because in some schools, those do definitely exist. Yeah. There's a lot. You're wearing like 4 to 5 different hats at a time, depending on what you do.
yeah.
Primarily, I was a science teacher.
I worked on, like, what is it? Did you call it, like, cinematography? Film. Worked in, like, the film department.
Yeah.
The
High
arts,
school
the arts
film.
classes.
Film.
Cinematography, film, yeah, around those. So for like 1 year, I had to teach it. And then we have to like talk about like motivation to like teach an unmotivated class. Can we talk about that? Like,
Well, I think right there, so whole motivation thing, I think it's one of those things you yourself really got to be excited about. It's a type of thing where people, especially with the younger generation, youth, I guess I could say, they definitely feed off of your energy. So if you come into something really hype, they're probably going to get hyped up about it as well. However, if you come into something dragging ass, They're not gonna care or listen to what you have to say. And I get it. Like, why do as your position as an educator, why do I need to be the one to fill that role as the motivator? Like, why is that? That's just the way it is.
Yeah. At least right now.
As students that got into schools, you really do feel that, like the passion of like those teachers, right? It's like who is the good teacher, and then it becomes less of a pain to go into class, right? And then us being who we are, we kind of feel like bad when you don't do the actual work on time, but I think there's other factors that play into the fact that we have to get it done. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
teachers, there's a difference between. There's teachers who are there just for their paycheck, and then there's teachers who are there because that's their livelihood. This is what they're meant to do. They want to be there. You know what I mean? And you can definitely 100% tell a difference during and or after you had a teacher. You can definitely tell if they wanted to be there or if they were just there to get the money and get out of there.
Oh yeah.
So here's I agree with all that, but then you get those those students who are just dickheads. Just like you see it in their eyes. Like, you could put all the passion in the world into the subject that you're teaching, but then some of these people just don't care. I'm just here to get a grade. Right?
Yeah. Well, the thing with that too is it's difficult. If they're not the ones motivated, then it's gonna be hella difficult to even really start anything.
How do you motivate an unmotivated kid? Even though you're motivated.
Really? You just have to find what speaks to them. And that's really the difficulty in education, because so many kids are affected by different things. Every kid is every person is unique. I mean, as snowflakey as that sounds, everyone's different from each other. Like, the exact same thing isn't going to work for every kid. It's a case by case, honestly. Because you have kids that don't have any parents. You have kids that come from full-on parents, have two parents. You have some kids nowadays that have 2 moms and 2 dads. Like, hey, nothing wrong with that either. And you have some single parent families as well. Just going with that one, that one variable, that's 8 or 9 different ways that kid can be different, much less depending how old they are, the various other variables, as they grow up, that affect them. So it's really case by case. It's hard to do unless you've actually met and worked with that kid. Certain approaches will work with them, though.
As a teacher, you're spread pretty thin. You can't just go up to this student's slacking behind. I'll be I gotta go talk to him. But you have kids like that in all your classes. They're guaranteed, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
But that's hard to get all your students up to snuff, to the standards, right? So at what point do you how much time am I gonna invest into each one of these people and then still get paid, right?
And that's where the system is broken. The whole thing teachers need to do is teach to these national standards we have, versus preparing these kids to be productive members of society after they leave, and be self-sufficient and all these other things. There's so many factors to it. It's very complex is the thing too. I mean, oh gosh.
I mean, as a teacher, you want all your kids to know your topic inside and out.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess what I'm trying to get
at... That's not possible. It's just...
Yeah.
But you want it to be possible.
That's the thing. What I'm trying to get at here is, at least in the way the current school system is now, these kids won't really learn anything about what they're studying. We're just teaching them to pass the test. I mean, how many times have you guys heard that working in education.
All the time.
All the time.
And just when we were in school, right? I'm teaching you to the test. You guys don't need to know this. You just need to know this to pass the test. And we glance over like 4 or 5 chapters. Am I wrong?
No?
Right? And it's the whole thing. We should really be looking at education in a more holistic approach, more well-rounded approach, where instead of all these like, oh, you have to know this science standard about this, we're focusing more on ensuring these these children have the ability to be self-sufficient and continue to learn as they grow older. I mean, I don't think there's much you could change in elementary school, you know, basic reading, writing, and maths and science. But after that, I think you can, honestly, we should do a lot more like kind of elective stuff where kids get to explore the things they like to do. I think that would really solve the motivation problem. If the kids are doing something that they want to do, then they're motivated to do it.
So what happens if it's all elective classes? I mean, so if they take all electives, like I wanted to take like an art class, I wanted to take a culinary class, I wanted to take wood shop, like what is it, fucking cars. But then they're skipping on like basic like English, math. Like I think that would affect them like greatly if there's, you know, not learning like those basic things, right? Math and science. But I guess you can argue that, you know, there is math that involves it with like, you know, with cars and all that. But again, you want to make sure that everyone's up to stuff when they get out of like high school, right? Like everyone should be held to like this standard of like, you should at least know algebra when you come out, algebra 2 when you come out of high school. Or less, like you should know how to like structure an essay when you come out of high school. So if you know, if everything was like an elective, people would just take all electives and not focus on like the core, right? I mean, I know a lot of people just don't like math and English, but you know, I think there should be at least some core things that you need to keep, and then, you know, I think a lot of schools still do this. There is some room for electives, right?
I'm sorry, I missed a bunch of that, guys. Some people walked in.
I think a lot of the elective things in schools, I haven't experienced it, but I know in other places of the globe, they are very much so underfunded and or understaffed, which I think is a thing people overlook, because we talked about motivation and things like that. And, you know, you guys mentioned electives, so you got like music, auto shop, wood shop, all the other stuff. And it's like, you know, I know some places they have an abundance of that, but it's not the standard everywhere. And I get it, like not everywhere can be similar, but I feel like there should be some standard across the board. And it's like, you know, I think those things are equally as important, if not, you know, at times more important than the core things like math, English and stuff, because those things are more practical. Like we talked about, like you guys mentioned, that kind of helps prepare you jumping forward into the real world.
Oh yeah, because you could argue that like taking like auto shop will probably more likely chance of getting an auto shop job as compared to getting like a math job, right? Right. Because you were specifically trained.
If you know like about automotives, like you can fix your own car if it breaks down, like the basics. You can do oil changes. You can like you can replace a fan belt on top of your engine or some shit like that. You know, they're not super complicated stuff either, where you're more self-sufficient.
But can't you just like argue like, oh, once you go out of high school, you can take whatever you want, like for like community college, right? You really don't care for what you take. If
just
you
do
know,
something,
they'll tell you
find
like,
something you can do.
They'll tell you like, oh, pick a major before, you know, start picking classes. You can pick a major and then just not see your counselors. Like, I'm just gonna take whatever I want and just, you know, explore. But you know that instead of, you know, your parents, well, I assume your parents are paying for your high school education. Now it's you paying for your own education with like scholarships or like your own money that you're working is paying for your college, and then that's money out of your pocket. What do you guys think about like going to a community college versus going to university?
Oh,
I think it's a much better idea to go to a community college. Honestly, okay, this is a whole nother higher education. God, don't get me started on that shit. Low-key a scam. Would you disagree? Would anyone disagree here?
I wouldn't. Never attended a university. That would be the. I don't know. Were you guys qualified to talk about it?
You ever heard Elon Musk? I think it was him who said it. Like he himself thinks that college is a scam, and the person was like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, everything you would ever really need to know is free on the internet." And I was like,
Almost.
Okay.
Almost.
Yeah. It's real like,
true.
ooh, really? Kinda is, kinda isn't, but I see where he's coming from.
But okay,
Yeah.
so I learned how to play ukulele through the internet. But if I make certain mistakes that are not well suited for playing ukulele, right? So like strumming patterns, not strumming patterns, but the way you stroke ukulele, there are like multiple strokes that you can. So you got like a fan motion, you also got like a picking motion. Like I would never know that. Like I would never like search that on the internet. I mean, would you guys like search that on the internet? Like way to strum ukulele, right? Like I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't be looking up different strokes, honestly, especially ones with my hands.
So like if you like gone to see like an educator like from like a university or something, they would tell you like, oh, you can strum it
All
like
these
this.
different things.
Yeah. Like you can't get it because you don't know what you don't know, right? Like I would have never thought of like, oh, you could just do this. Or like, you know, the way you can bar a fret could be like a completely different way. Right? And then
Yes, I understand what you mean. Actually.
Like if you can get you can get information off the internet, but it's not very, you know, there are some gaps in like
but
your information.
I posit, what stops you from finding just a mentor who knows how to play ukulele to teach you on the internet, right?
That's true.
That's one way you can talk to a ukulele master. Aren't there a few channels on YouTube that do that?
I mean, that's an argument of like, if you know, it's like a phone book, I would argue like, oh, I'm advertising like what is it, ukulele lessons, right?
I definitely think in school there should still be like structure there. I'm not saying just, oh yeah, go on the internet, you're fine there. Because I mean, that's how we got the flat earthers and anti-vaxxers, and look where we are now, guys.
Yeah, so it can lead you to misinformation. But I feel like that's like at fault of the education system for like this misinformation stuff that we've been like getting like this past couple years.
Education.
I don't know about you guys, but I was like educated like what is a reliable source. So
hey, I heard from a college professor, yes, right there. A college professor of mine said that quote that Wikipedia is a credible resource.
They cite their sources, that's why.
Is a Facebook group a credible source, though?
Not at all.
Like a Reddit post? Is it?
Oh, no.
No.
But some people get their information from that. That's the thing. It's like, it could... But I also get information from Reddit.
Well...
And then it's not completely wrong.
Here's
but
the thing,
I know in
though.
my mind, like, oh, I should be, like, wary of, like, information on the internet.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't know. Like, 99% of what you see on the internet is a goddamn lie. It's like, what rule is that? Rule number 1 of the internet? Everything is a lie or some shit like that?
Like,
or don't believe what anyone says?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't remember.
Don't
bring up the list, somebody. I'll look it up.
Internet.
Where's the rules? List of internet rules. Let me see here.
Oh no. Oh great. Wanna talk about Rule 34?
Why would you bring up
That's the rule of the internet!
That's not the rule of the internet. That's
it
one
is.
Of them.
It is.
I am asking for the collated list.
That it's on the list. It has 100 rules, bro.
Yes. I know that
And
it's
World
on the list,
34
but why
is
would
one
you
of them.
specifically bring that one up?
Man,
It's not even the one I was looking for. I was looking for the one on lies, dog.
I want to dive back to what I believe Bilot said about the whole community college before university.
Okay, back on topic.
I would like to take that. I would like to agree with you with that. I think I jumped straight into university, and like, you know, I'm gonna be real. Those experiences, that whole thing that I had going on was great. I wouldn't trade that. However, I would like to advise other people going into secondary education. You know, definitely if you don't know 100% what you want to lock into, and that's cool because a lot of people don't, and you might change your mind down the line. But I would like to advise people jump into a community college first. You know, get some of your prereqs and like, you know, all the boring shit you go through. Yeah, your core stuff. Get that out of the way. Just zone in on that a little bit. You know, do your part-time job. Do you for a bit, and then I feel like once you kind of got a general idea, or you're 100% sure of what you want to do, then I feel like you should be able to transition to a university, because that's where you're gonna get, you know, the fine-tuning that you need in your education to pursue your degree and whatnot. Because like for me, I jumped into a 4-year university right off the rip, and like I said, it was cool, but I really wish, you know, I feel like I wasted a decent chunk of my time, you know, kind of, you know, at first I thought I knew what I wanted to be, and a couple years down the line I was questioning it, and then I switched over, and then now I'm not sure, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's cool and all, because people, especially in secondary education, you know, you kind of figuring yourself out, but there was a lot of time and money that I feel like I could have saved and avoided wasting if I went to community college first instead of just jumping straight into a university.
Yeah. Well,
I second that thought right there.
I'm the only one who's went to a community college. You know, I haven't. Again, your experiences are different from my experiences, but you know, there are parties at a university. But you shouldn't go to a college just because there are parties and, you know, a bigger group. They're just as big as group as at a community college. But you know, you're not gonna have those giant parties because you feel like the environment, like everyone's on the grind at a community college. Like we're here to like learn and then experience stuff. But for a university, it's like I feel like it's 10 times as big. Yeah. And then you're gonna get a whole bunch of people colliding with each other, socializing with each other. You know, but again, you know.
One thing.
Yeah, there's definitely upsides to going to community college and going to university. Like, one that I can think of off the top of my head, besides what Detox said earlier, is like universities is where they have like big laboratories and stuff like that. So if you want to go into medical and science fields and STEM fields, you kind of need to go to a big university if you really want to get the best of the best in that regards. Like, I mean, Johns Hopkins University is one for medical, right? They have all the high-tech laboratories and all that stuff where they do research and stuff. So that's one of the things. Like, university is where like most of academia resides.
True, but you can also get your basics done at a community college.
Exactly. At community college, you can get your basics done. You don't even need to just get your basics done. You can just graduate from community college. No fucking the kinds about it. Like,
you guys think there's a difference between like an associate's and a bachelor's for like getting a job?
Yeah.
There is?
There is, yes. Yes, 100% there is.
Like, you guys give me an example. Like,
for example, most states, if you want to be an emergency hire teacher, you need at least a bachelor's degree. Like, you may be able to luck out with an associate's, but that'll probably only be able to get you around like a TA or what is it? EA. Yeah.
And even if you are lucky as an emergency hire type of deal, if you have your associates and you get in there, 9 times out of 10, if someone shows up with a bachelor's degree, they're gonna supersede you and you're out.
Yeah.
Got it.
Just those extra 2 years.
Just like, okay, how about this? How about, you know, like there is like a job crisis, right? Like people are running out of workers, right? So what happens if someone who has a bachelor's and you have an associate's? Will they still choose the bachelor's?
Probably.
Yeah.
Got it.
I mean, honestly, with the way all the education systems, at least in America, where all of 3 of us live, right? You guys are all American citizens, right?
I live in Romania. I'm just kidding.
Oh, Andrew Tate.
Top G.
You're a PUBG. I see, my man. You're pretty based in red pill. Would you say that? Okay. Getting a little too online here. But, gosh, what were you talking about before we went off on that stupid little excursion?
Here we go. So I want to fine tune on primary education, I think would be the term.
Yes.
You guys familiar? I don't think this is a DOS, but Common Core.
Common Core, yeah.
I think that was a nationwide
Common
thing,
Core
right?
is nationwide. Yeah.
Yeah. Common Core curriculum. Do you guys have any thoughts and or opinions about that?
What is
other
that?
than
First, what is it? What is Common Core?
oh, buddy, you're an educator and you don't know what that is.
Well,
Yeah.
for the people who are not educators,
Yeah.
You're right.
All right. So, AK, if I'm wrong or any sense, please correct me here. From my understanding, Common Core was so you know how growing up we had standardized tests specific to where we went to school.
Mm-hmm.
So Common Core was a thing that nationwide it was spread across education, and that was like the new academic standard where Common Core was the way things were taught. That was the standardized testing and everything, and based on like kind of how we previously hatched on was we're preparing you for this specific test type of deal. And Common Core, you know, I feel like before it launched, they were like, oh, this is good for X, Y, and Z. And I think a couple years into it, they're like, yeah, this isn't gonna work out. So, and it's like, so Common Core, they redefined how teaching works. Especially one thing that I personally experienced was the way they taught math. The way they teach math now is absolutely ludicrous. I'd be watching youth do certain math problems and how they go about solving it, and the way they're taught to solve these problems completely 180 on how we were taught to solve certain problems back in the day. And if you ask me, from what I saw too, there's about 100 extra steps that you need to do to get from the problem to solution. Like instead of going from point A to point B, they're going to like A, B, X, Y, Z. Like they're going through the whole shebang, and it literally makes no sense.
I think that's more in an attempt to make sure they understand the concept completely. Because people like us only understand how to get to the answer and not the whole reason you get to the answer. Right? Am I wrong there, or am I completely, in what I'm saying, completely irrelevant?
I agree with you, but not like 100%.
Okay. Because I don't have as much experience in the primary. I don't do any human experiments.
yeah,
Wow.
that's Detox job. What you doing?
No homophils growing in the lab.
Careful now. The
What's
pH
going in the
here.
drain, bro? You got any fucking human fish hybrids coming out of your drain?
Air is in the drain. Whoa.
You guys ever see that meme?
Growing stronger day by day.
Yo,
But, real quick, so Common Core was a thing that was spread nationwide, and everywhere in the nation at a certain point, they're like, yo, this isn't gonna work. So each specific, I want to say county or district or whatever you want to name it, kind of adopted their own version of Common Core curriculum. And that is kind of what is happening right now. We're on the rebuttal of people are trying to make their own Common Core curriculum, and no one has figured it out. And everyone's trying different things, and no one can seem to lock it in. And like, I get it, you know, back to before we launched this discussion. If you ask me, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I do understand that new ideas need to be implemented to further things. But there's certain things in my head, I'm like, why did you change it? And I'm gonna be biased here, but I'm gonna focus on math, because the way they teach math nowadays to me is pretty ludicrous. And yeah, I could go on, but what else y'all got?
well, one thing I definitely think we could do well with is teaching people how to use their bodies correctly.
Oh,
Because, dear Lord, especially when I'm looking at stuff online, it seems like people have never like exercised consecutive days in their life. Do you guys get what I mean when I say that?
I'm tired. I need to drink water so I'm not tired anymore.
Yes, stuff like that. I was like, bro, what?
oh,
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Because I cope, okay. outside of like education, I also coach like football, basketball, volleyball, swimming, water polo, and I say that's it.
I mean, it could be a placebo. Like drinking water does make you feel less tired, right? You don't know what a placebo is?
Biologically speaking, though, it doesn't work.
It doesn't.
It doesn't do anything for you there.
That's why
you maybe eat like a little candy or snack to get some sugar in your bloodstream. Glucose.
I agree with that. Like eating stuff during like my exercise does help. I can contest to that. But any kind of like issues that
like,
I've come in contact in class, it's just for me specifically, it's really hard to get people to get motivated. Even though I'm motivated, like, isn't this interesting? When you guys like, oh, you know, like cloning, right? Having two of you in the same, you know, position, or like having two of you in the same shot, right? Like clones of you. Like, isn't it?
Okay, I thought you were like talking about actually cloning people.
No, again, that's
I was gonna say like, bro, that's pretty cool, but that's kind of scary. I don't know if I want to mess with human clones, or any clones for that matter.
But again, you know, like, is like I would say, wouldn't you say that's interesting? Like, I show off like what this is what you can do within the program, right? Then I show them how, and then it's like,
yeah, like I would love to learn how to do that in a video. Yeah, like take a person and then make a copy of them in that same panel, right? In that same I don't know, footage. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. But then, you know, there's just, some of it they're not motivated and they just don't want to do it. And it's harder for me because it's an elective, right? Like, I don't really need to be here. Yeah, this is not like a core thing. So like I have a like double against me, right? Like, I will never use this in my entire life.
I say with that, at least in the way electives are now, there's a lot of people who just put random things down because they don't really
because people think it's
those
easy.
Are the kids who don't even and those are also kids who don't even want to be in school.
Yeah, as
well. Would you?
We get all those people. It's because honestly, so AK, you've been editing, right?
Yes.
Is it easy?
It's fucking not. I hate it.
It's not, right? But
it is so damn tedious.
And then you were in that class, right? Were you? At one point. You're
in a similar class,
You took like an editing class, and then, right? And then, did you think it was easy when you came into it?
You know, actually, I will say the concepts and stuff like that are pretty digestible. Like, it's literally just a checklist. I just would say that it doesn't run up my alley. I think I have a little too much ADHD, ADHD energy.
Were those clinically diagnosed?
No, not at all. That's just... I think I had a little too much of that energy, especially at that point in my life. What was that? We're all that age, 14, 15, I think, when I took that class.
We're immature.
Well, I was around the same size.
But yeah,
so there hasn't been much change there.
So, but they come into the class and think it's like it's easy, but it's not. Like in a real we try to teach them in a real situation. This is your due date. If it's not here by this due date, you fail, right? That's how it is in the industry. You don't make your date, you're fucked, right?
But do you guys fail them? That's my question. Do you actually fail them? I don't like the grades. Or do you give them
I don't even look at the grades. I don't grade anything. It's like, this is what they got there.
Here's another, maybe that could contribute. Because like what Detox was saying earlier, like really the energy you bring is what you kind. Okay? Like,
so that instance, I wasn't teaching. In that instance, I wasn't teaching. I was just, again, I was like a TA. It's like, I'm here to like, I'm just helping, and then like, okay, what do you need?
Here's the thing, it goes back to that motivation thing. Like, there's some kids who just are in school to occupy a seat and not further themselves in any way whatsoever. You know, like make the best of a bad situation and try to make themselves better and learn a new skill or something like that, or actually learn something. Besides that, that's something like a fundamental flaw that been inflicted upon that child by our education system. Because I think it's goddamn broken. We really need an overhaul on it.
Should we get rid
Like,
of
think
grades
about
in
it.
general?
Did you learn how to do your taxes at school? How to balance
no.
a budget?
Hell
How to
no.
cook a meal?
Dude,
How to sew a
why
goddamn
isn't-
patch in your clothes?
dude. Oh, well, okay. Wait, let's go into the taxes thing. I think that's like the most critical thing to learn in the education system, and we don't learn it. It's stupid. It's like, why isn't there a taxes class for education? Like a specific class for
Furthermore,
taxes.
I think we would do a lot better if we educated our younger generations about how the government actually works. Because we aren't taught anything about that in school.
I mean,
Hello.
I read, there was that one book, was it 1984?
I mean, that's basically how our government operates at this point, right?
Oh, right there. You guys heard it here, folks. Across the nation, everyone read 1984. How
I'd
about
be
it?
down for it.
George Orwell
When did he publish that?
in
That was a
1984.
great read.
That
He
guy's
did
a
not.
smart man.
Bruh, it is literally in the
No
name
way.
of the book. What are you
No
on now?
way. Bro, you're gaslighting me. Shut up. George Orwell was alive in the 1800s, bro.
Oh, that's like... Wait, you weren't born in the 1800s?
I was born when the Big Bang happened, dog. I'm basically
The 20th
God.
century. Oh, so what am I doing right now?
What are you doing right now? I
What chips is he
endowed you
eating?
with
What chips is he eating?
Oh
KK?
no. Bruh, I don't know. What?
Oh,
What's in this fridge? Guess
You
what's in
lost
this
me.
fridge? Guess what is in this fridge? Do it.
What's in this fridge? Do you have water in your fridge?
no.
Damn.
No? Damn it. Do you
Truly's.
have pizza pockets?
Fruit
Truly's.
punch.
Yeah,
Bud Lights?
no.
Bud Light sodas?
I'm a man of class.
Your man of class?
Mm-hmm.
Jack Daniels?
Beer.
Beer? Bruh, you ever drink a Bud Seltzer soda? Goddamn
Sounds
amazing. You've drinking them. How dare you?
Dude, what's your crazy mixture with Truly's or whatever? You mix drinks.
You
Detox?
take, you Truly, and so in a big old cup or whatever, you can mix it however you want. But what I do is I take a bottle of soju, dump that in there, and you can top it off a Truly or two, and then you're just ripping.
Ah, that sounds pretty killer.
Yeah, but what happens when you have work the next day?
Then you take some Advil, you suck it up, and you go be a man. Top G.
Whoa, hold
Damn.
up. Take up Advil. You mean drink some Pedialyte?
Just calling sick, yeah?
Never done that.
Yeah,
You've
I
never
don't
done
think.
that.
Prideful.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that.
Correct. I'm too prideful. I feel like even if I'm sick, I feel like I'm never sick enough to actually hey,
Oh,
I can't
bruh.
really-
If I am slightly coughing, dude, when COVID was happening, if I was slightly coughing that morning, I was like, oh my gosh.
Can we
I
talk
have
about that? You
I
guys
have
wanna
at
talk
least
about
one
that?
COVID symptom
Talk
on my
about it.
questionnaire and was told to stay home. And I stayed home.
So me and Detox got the Rona. Alright, you want to talk about that?
Oh,
Oh,
God.
shit. Stay away from me, you filthy human beings.
So
that's in past.
I just want to clarify that I got it from Detox over here.
Whoa, that's so dirty.
Elon had it way before I had even contracted that vile thing.
Okay, so you want to talk about your experience and then I go?
Well, before you guys get serious, have you guys noticed any new mutations happening in your bodies recently? Like any Wolverine claws or anything like that?
Oh, yeah.
Detox,
Lately I've
what
been
you put in
hearing the
it?
mice going crazy in the wall. I think it just might be my headset, but you know.
You got mice?
You get some turtle
I got
beaches.
rats!
Oh, shebang.
I got rats in my tub. Like literally inside the tub. That's you remember coming to my house and it's
That's not good.
it fucking smelled because a fucking dead rat was in the tub. I was like, wait, how do we get it out? You remember that, Detox?
Oh.
Pick that bitch up.
Yes.
No, we didn't. It died within the floors.
You guys left it there?
I had to.
Oh
I ain't gonna
shit! I was about to say yeah.
in the floors.
Yeah,
bro.
you can't. Yeah, how the fuck are you gonna do that? You have to cut out part of the floor and get that bitch. Fuck.
Yep. So you just gotta
That sucks.
let it decay and then just.
Or you just let it rot in there.
Oh, we
yeah,
had a
and deal
film
with the
day.
smell.
We had a film day too. It was like, fuck. It literally died that day.
On a scale of 1 to
Yeah,
10,
I don't have that problem. I have a different problem at my house. I have feral cats all up in this bitch. A rat will not survive here, much less a mouse. They
I'm
get
jealous.
absolutely bodied. No, I hate it. They shit everywhere.
Oh,
I want to murder them.
would you prefer rats over cats? Because
Hmm.
I'd rather have a cat problem.
Wait,
than
Have
a
you
rat.
ever heard a cat fucking under your house?
rat.
Have you ever heard
rat
two cats
under-
in heat fucking under your house?
Sounds like children.
Sounds
It
like
sounds annoying. Okay,
Sounds
have
like a
you heard
sign.
a cat fight happening right underneath, like where you sleep, not a foot underneath? Like I don't know why these fuckers can't do it someplace else, like in the middle of the street or something. Why they
Well,
gotta choose
AJ,
underneath my house?
maybe it's just the mood is right, and then the moonlight's shining, and then it just captures like all the light perfectly, and you just get into the mood. And you know what? That's a sign for you to just hop on your phone and search up cat pictures, preferably.
Hell no! I don't want no toxoplasma. I don't want my mind controlled by a parasite.
I'm so happy you brought that up.
Okay,
I
There is
know.
one
wait,
I
that
know
doesn't exist, right?
is in-
Wait, do we
wait,
even
no,
have
That does exist, bro.
Real.
You can
Real.
blood test people and
Okay,
find that they have
okay.
toxoplasma
Did
in
you
them.
find that on Wikipedia? Isn't that a reliable
No.
source?
Oh, it's a real thing though. Toxoplasma. There is an individual that I
I
know.
don't trust
who-
YouTube videos, bro. That's not a reliable source.
Wait, think about it though. Anybody me personally, any person I've ever met who is a cat person is 100% infatuated with cats. Like, you know, you meet a dog person and it's like, oh yeah, that's my dog, he's cute, yada 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 yada. Boom boom boom, bang pow, done. Right? But someone with cats is literally brainwashed, like in love with these things, and I don't understand. And it goes back to that whole toxoplasma thing. They are literally brainwashed.
I feel like they just like cats. Like, you can
No.
like
No.
things at an extreme level, but, like,
Yes.
you know, you can like a cat, but I don't think it's, like, caused by a parasite.
It's a thing though. It's an actual thing. That's like what I'm trying to like. We're trying to, you know.
I think it's a
toxoplasma is a-
conspiracy. It's, like, it's way, like, I need some more proof.
Right in there, look in the Discord chat. Mayo Clinic.
Mayo Clinic. Hey.
If you have weakened immune systems, it can cause headache, confusion, poor coordination, seizures, lung problems like tuberculosis, blurred vision. If you're a baby, you can get seizures, jaundice, eye infections, and a bigger spleen and liver enlarged.
Liber.
So,
Yeah.
people who have, you know, who are obsessed with cats have all that.
No.
No. So those are people with immune systems.
Oh,
But because cat owners, like, think about it, they have a litter box in their house. It comes from cat feces.
You breathe it in.
and that's a parasite? So the parasite's within the air.
Not
I'll
in
just
the
leave
air,
it
like,
without-
okay. So it has to be from, as long as you like get a little bit of cat feces on your hand and rub your face or something, it can get on you in your body.
And then you're infected.
Okay.
And then you like cats
And
for
you're
the rest of your
infected
life.
by toxoplasma, yes, and you're infatuated with cats. Like, look what it does to rats. It makes
Oh.
them like the smell of cat.
See,
piss.
it affects. I agree, it affects rats, but not. I don't like humans. Really?
So then, why do we test things on rats before you test them on humans?
well, those don't never
If that's
reach
not
like. Rats have like I don't
An
know.
immune
I'm
system?
gonna be wrong, but like maybe like 90 or 80% of like our DNA or whatever.
I'm just
butchering
being
that.
overly contrarian at this point, dude. I understand why you have reservations about it.
But you know,
Okay,
those rat trials never get into.
There
like,
hasn't. Yeah,
you
I don't
a
know if there's
clinical-
been any
'cause you-
studies.
If in order to like test something that affects a human, you need to test it on a human, right?
Yes, but there haven't been any studies. Like, what does toxoplasma actually do to humans? We don't even know, and there are millions, if not billions, of us infected with it. Bro, what if there is some, like, okay, this is getting really into, like, the sci-fi and, like, conspiracy theory bullshit here, okay? What happens if someone just weaponizes toxoplasma, whatever, and everybody who has it just fucking dies within a few weeks? Okay? Like, bro, that's some serious fucking business there. What if they just weaponize toxoplasma to become some sort of like killer parasite that just attacks our nervous system?
I feel like we're already.
Murders us?
It's not
'Cause
called
look what it does to babies and stuff.
It's not called toxic plasma. It's called the coronavirus. That's what it's called. It was made by government.
Yeah, that's something completely. That is something completely different. Toxoplasma.
It's the same scenario where it affects a billion people.
Parasite.
I mean, it's a virus, but
yes.
not a parasite.
Yes, I mean that's two completely different things. A virus is way tinier than a freaking parasite.
I mean, it's still killing people. That's my argument.
Hold on. So I think we're getting a little sidetracked here on the whole education thing. So I'll bring it back. So you mentioned COVID be a lot, right? I want to talk about your guys' thoughts and their opinions about, so during the pandemic, in the, when everyone was at home, social distancing, or were just, locked in their houses, I want to talk about one in the middle of it, how, teachers are doing like Zoom classes and all that.
Oh, fuck
and
that.
How now we're suffering, or in education, we're suffering from covering, because how long were we doing distance learning?
Almost 3 years.
Oh, shit.
Well, some places
almost 3 years.
Yeah,
almost 3 years in some places. Some places haven't even opened up yet in some countries.
And the youth are definitely in person.
They're definitely being affected. Yes, we're highly social creatures.
Yes, so I feel like there's a huge gap there in terms of social awareness in youth nowadays.
Yes, definitely.
Because that was something that interaction was robbed from them. Whose fault is? I mean, yeah, it's COVID, but like, what could we have done? And it's like, because something this global, a pandemic. When was the last time we had a pandemic?
The Spanish flu, right?
Yeah.
A worldwide thing.
I fucking knew that, but
I mean, it was all over the news.
Yeah.
Too. People were using that as like
a lot of people don't know that though. There's a good. Go out, ask some random Joe on the street.
Me and you, we've been raised pretty good, yeah. Good education system. We know our history, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, anyway, that's more on me.
Go detox. What were you saying?
Yeah, keep going. What's your rabbit hole here?
I want to see what you guys think about just how the
bro
is recovering.
It's not recovering. It's going down the slope. Have you seen the numbers?
Because no one wants to teach. Like those problems are heavily affecting teachers that I know personally, and all I can say is tough luck. I'm out of it.
Yeah.
All right, let's put some empathy in here, though.
That's why. That's why I think we really need an overhaul of it.
The motivation thing. So you gotta be motivated to teach your fucking kids. Okay, you see, it gets tiring. Like trying to keep.
Yeah. Okay. At least for me, I could always find motivation in the classroom. It was when I wasn't teaching. That was the real problems. Like during meetings and stuff like that, where I'm not doing what I actually like doing, educating. But yeah, that's it there. I think that's where we differ. Like I actually kind of enjoy the whole process of teaching and working with these fuckers.
It's all
that's working with the students and stuff like that.
You gotta.
At least for me, I need to feel like. I need some feedback. I play with not play with
yours is different,
emotions, but I feed off everybody's emotions, like how everyone feels during a class. And literally my classes were 5 people, and then half of those people are just like, nah.
I understand that because the Zoom classes. I had Google classes where I would only have 3 kids out of my 120-something students show up, and that was incredibly demotivating. And so after that, I got into PE, bro. That was way funner.
Yeah, that's why everyone wants to be a PE teacher. Bro. It's like, oh my god.
Heck yeah. Well,
we need more education.
I wasn't really the PE teacher, though. I was more of a TA that did a little bit of everything with all the electives, like PE, music, art. Mostly
talk
PE,
about
though.
your swimming?
What do you mean about my swimming? What would I talk about it?
Do you want me to say it? What you did in swimming?
Oh no! No, what do you mean?
Oh, like you were a coach.
I'm just curious. Oh, yeah.
Like you want to talk about that? Oh, like that's considered PE, yeah? I mean, it's an active sport that you did after school. You want to talk about that? How is it different from an in class and then compared to like, you know, when you're like, swimming or doing stuff?
Swimming, swimming is weird. I wouldn't use swimming. I'd either use like basketball or volleyball because those are a lot easier to talk about.
Okay.
Even football. But yeah, like it's way different because, for example, they're literally volunteering and taking time out of their day to go to that. So there's already some motivation to be a part of it. Like granted, there still are people who are just there to be there and hang out with their friends and stuff. But really, I would focus more on the ones who are more passionate and stuff. Also trying to at least doing my best to ignite some passion in everybody. At least, okay, it's difficult. I enjoy coaching more primary school and middle school age students versus high schoolers. High schoolers are like a little too jaded, and puberty is a whole nother thing.
Oh,
too.
Get me started.
And all that other stuff. There's a whole bunch of other stuff there. But really, it's just because they want to be doing it. If you really want to work in education or have a good time educating, you have to kind of have that motivation there. Honestly, you have to also bring that motivation too, is the thing. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Okay, for example, actually, when I do PE classes or even when I'm coaching, I participate in what I'm telling the players to do. So like if we're doing sprints or we're doing our warm-up and laps, I jump in with the kids and do it with them. Because like, I mean, hey, if your coach is doing it, how are you going to be complaining that you have to do it? You could agree. Would you agree with that, Detox?
Yeah.
You played some sports in high school, right?
Yes.
Oh, my coach did jack shit. He's just like, here, hit this ball. I'm not gonna run with you though. Like,
Pero you played tennis.
I hated your coach too, and I didn't even
That's
have
a little bit different, yeah.
like,
And can I say initials? Is that alright?
just say, what do you just say? It's a coach.
For
right?
the tennis coach, right?
Yeah. What about him?
We all know who that is, right?
Yes,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
had him I had him as a teacher as well. So, and he's my dad's friend, so that's great.
Yikes.
Yo.
He's a bad coach, but yeah, okay. Okay.
That's the thing too.
Should I go on about like my tennis experience?
Yeah, would you say you're getting educated? Because there's
I was getting educated by two people.
You know what was actually one thing I would say from swimming I learned is, well, I learned this in other parts, but like overcoming adversity, I would call it. Like if you've ever swam and you've gotten...
Oh, what happened?
Sorry, I'm quite fond of that word.
Oh, overcoming adversity?
Yes.
Okay, because like, I learned it through other sports and other things as well. But one thing in swimming is like I had a practice meet where like they gather your time so you can participate in the regular meets in the season. Swimming is weird. It's like track and stuff like that, right? But anyway, like I got a really slow time. Like I was a minute and a half behind the slowest guy, the next slowest person. I heard clapping as I was finishing my kind. My coach was like that.
Oh, fuck.
Do you know what that was?
The pity clap.
Yes, the pity clap. And I was like, oh! I was like, I hope you never want to hear that again. I was like, you have no idea how much, coach.
See, but I'm so happy you brought...
And that little fire under my butt, not ever get that again.
But nowadays, you can't do stuff like that.
What?
Everyone gets a participation trophy, pat on the back. You know, you literally.
I don't like those.
Bro, you're sounding pretty based and red-pilled there, and I'm digging it.
Well, yeah. There's certain things that was acceptable to say to youth that were said to us back in the day, and if you'd said something remotely similar to that now, you would be canceled, or you would be thrown out, or you would be
like, oh my gosh, you're being so mean. You're not thinking about that's so traumatic to do to my kid. That's another problem with education. Parents are way too like ready to drop everything to defend their kids.
Yeah, they're way too
even though
protective,
they know their kids POS. It's like, bruh, okay, it's very it's difficult. There's so
I know,
many
I
different
get like
things
you want to
going
protect
on.
your kid, but again, life is not gonna be that way. Like
Yeah.
you're not always gonna win. And you're also not always gonna be like there for your kid, right? It's not.
Yeah.
It's I give a lot of credit for like parents. It's like, what is the right way to teach your kid, right?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. Like I was a kid. I still don't know how to teach a kid, right? Like I know what's wrong, but what's the right way to do it, right? Again,
Yeah.
and then you could teach them like all right, but then when they go to school, they could get all fucked up, right? With the people they meet, the friends they meet. They're like, I can attest to that. But like, how do we, teach them like things are gonna suck, and you just gotta deal with it, right? Like they can cry about it, but then also as a parent, you should consult your child about that. It could be a very traumatic experience for a kid to like lose or like fail at something. But as a parent, it's your job to like guide them in the right direction, right?
Hold up. I have a problem with saying like losing or failing is traumatic. Well, there are instances where that could be very traumatic. I'm not saying that that's not possible. I feel like that's overstating it. Oftentimes, failure and again, like
Being a loser.
encountering adversity, losing and encountering adversity makes you stronger.
Exactly.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah. You should.
Because like, here's an
Okay,
example. Go ahead with what you want to say.
You should know what it feels like to lose, and then you should also know what it feels like to win, because you have a baseline. You can't always be winning, right? Like you have no floor. You're always going up, but you have to know what a down feels like, right?
Yeah.
That way
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
how it feels. Like I feel like I
Because-
don't know if this is true for you guys, but I feel like a lot of people are like a bit too sensitive to stuff. Am I wrong?
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I get what you mean because here's a perfect example. Like coaching basketball and volleyball, like these kids would cry after we lost, and through no fault of, through actually all of their own fault, like just not executing, not working together, not doing what we practice and stuff like that, and they're crying and complaining and stuff like that, and their parents were really feeding into that, and I was like, yo, hey. This is kind of all on you guys. You guys just like care. I'm not trying to say that, oh yeah, they're the problem and be like, oh yeah, I'm a great coach. But just the whole mindset is that kids can do no wrong nowadays. And like, it's always like, that's constantly fed into nowadays. And it's like, yo, hey, you don't need to be crying over this. You need to understand that if you don't perform, that this is what's gonna happen. At least in this setting.
I mean,
And
I'm gonna be honest.
I feel like
cried during
that
practice.
always makes
and
you
I was like,
stronger.
I had like a fucking losing streak with my partner. That it sucks, but then because well, I think they were crying because they know they could have done better, and it sucks. And it's kind of you get overwhelmed with like emotions, and then puberty, yeah. So yeah, I understand where that person's coming from, where they're crying during like. They lost the match because they could have done better, but they didn't. And I also get that, it's a parent's responsibility to like, educate them in a healthy way. But then it's a process. But,
Yeah, that's again, art. Yeah, continue. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like, yeah, that's one of the things. Yeah, because that's one of the things. Again, that's kind of, at least I think. I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but what's broken about the education system? Like, teachers and parents don't collaborate anymore like they used to.
Oh, yeah.
You go a little bit in depth to that. Like, what do you mean? Like, they have like in-teacher meetings. Like,
And how often is that?
Yes, but the thing is, you were just talking about this earlier. We have like 100-something kids to deal with in.
Right.
120, like I think the most I had was 129 students I had to deal with in 1 year. And I don't know about you, but it's very difficult to collaborate all by myself with all 100 of those people, where we can all together say that this is what we want to be doing, and really getting each other on the same page and keeping each other on the same page, if you get what I mean there.
No, I get
Because
it.
compared to like say
Collaboration between, you know, you and this parent.
yeah,
What do you
like
mean by
okay, before
collaboration?
you would have relationships with parents and teachers where like you could just go to your fucking student's house, talk to the parent and the student about like their behavior and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Nowadays that's heavily frowned upon, and like that's like the last fucking resort. You don't ever do shit like that ever again.
I mean,
you know?
parents can still set up a meeting with the teacher, but it's mostly going to be about, hey, my kid's failing. What can he do? Those
Yeah,
kind
and
of issues.
as a teacher, how are you gonna fix their student from failing, even if their kid isn't turning in anywhere, doing any of the tests or anything like that, right?
Right.
And that's kind of the thing there. Like schools are just willing to push kids up to the next grade, even if they're like failing, like they're not even meeting the standards they need to make.
So do you wish that, you know, we go back to the old days where we can meet up with these parents and then say like, oh, your kid's failing, make sure their kid does this? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I don't think we should do that. Like, we can't go back to doing that, because that was back in the days when like you had one little schoolhouse for your little village or little town. That's the kind of times I was talking about, you know, like 1800s, early 1900s kind of schools. All right, but at least nowadays, what I think we should move more towards is like kind of it would be very difficult to pull off. There's a bunch of different stuff, but I think one really good way to kind of repair that is really, I just think there should be a huge paradigm shift, honestly. Like, instead of like the whole middle school, high school stuff, like go back to like 1700s times where middle school age kids were getting into like apprenticeships with like craftsmen and stuff like that. Like, did you guys ever read Johnny Tremaine in school?
No.
No? Okay. Well, like back in those colonial days and stuff like that, or even that days, the whole thing was, you know, you kind of educate your own kids until they're 14. I'm not saying we do that. Like, I say we keep like primary school until around 7th or 8th grade, 6th or 7th grade. And after that, start introducing them to different professional fields more often. You know, like, hey, this is what a marine biologist does. You're going to be learning about marine science with them for a few weeks, you know, and then freaking, oh, this is what an auto mechanic does, and, you know, kind of going through the different ones, and they can choose what they want to learn about.
So you want to see
In that
like a
kind of way.
system where they can choose
Yeah,
their own path at a very early age.
yes, and explore, like, we have so much knowledge at our fingertips nowadays, just with the internet. Imagine if we use that in a more, like, cohesive and the kind way, in a more cohesive and kind of nuanced way, where we're actually trying to achieve something with it.
I see. What do you think, Detox?
Didn't have really much thought onto what AK just said, but I really wanted to hash back on the whole winners losers ideology, if you guys wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
So me now, and I think even me a little bit at the time, I have the greatest amount of respect for those teachers that I had at certain periods of my education upbringing, that they were just very cut and dry, don't shoot the shit. Like, let's say, you know, I failed a test, right? And it's like, yo, why did I fail the test? And the teacher straight up was like, well, do you study? And I'd be like, no. We're like, hey, well, there's that. And he's like, did you turn in all your assignments? No. It's like, hey, well, how are you gonna be prepared for this test if you didn't do the preparation work? The teachers that kind of laid it out for you and was like, you know, really think about it. Especially certain teachers, or I don't want, who's a good example? We had a teacher in middle school, a science teacher of sorts, if you guys know who I'm talking about. I have the greatest respect for him, because he was, you know, he had a time to play, but he had a time to shut up and do work. And if you messed up or did something out of line, he would call you out on it. And like for me myself, if I was ever in that, if I ever was acting outlandish of any sorts, and he called me out, he's like, "Hey, knock it off," I'd be like, "Damn, you right? My bad."
Yep.
So, I don't know. I just feel like nowadays teachers are teachers are chastised for, I don't want to say being themselves, but
Being real.
Yeah.
And being honest. Being genuine.
Yes. Because as an adult now, like I said, I have the greatest respect for those teachers who straight up called me out on something, or kind of laid it out and be like, really think about it. And as an adult now, I'm like, damn, that's real. That was a genuine interpersonal connection that I had with this educator, and I feel like that's really missing today.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Actually, yeah, that kind of keys into what I'm talking about. I think these kids also need more that kind of interpersonal connection with a mentor. Like, that was that same science teacher also I greatly respected. But that could also solve it, like just teachers allowed to be genuine and real with their students.
All right.
Because at least I noticed whenever I was teaching, I kind of put up a wall between me and my students to kind of keep it, I don't know, professional, I guess you could say.
Right.
Like where I was reluctant to really deeply, personally be connected with these students. I know that sounds very, very wrong there, but
Connected, you mean like have a
like guiding these students down a better path, like right there, like really deeply correcting a would you say that's like a, what would you call that? Shit!
relationship?
Who talks?
Note the time.
Not the time, not the time.
God. You know, I can't really do that while I'm right in Discord, right? No, let's just stop. So, anyway.
My bad.
And we're back.
Oh my god. You're doing so well.
We're getting into some pretty deep territory, and I almost doxed us.
Alright. Lucky thing I'm here as an editor. Jesus. Okay, where were you going?
Hey, I caught it immediately, but at least I was
a
following
good
off
effort
what
on your
Detox
part,
was saying.
Terrible day on my end, but go ahead.
I know, I'm sorry, but okay, so
And you're forgiven.
anyway,
Until I edit it, and then I hate you. Go ahead.
if you really want, you can put silly things over my area of the screen as much as you want.
I'm gonna put a squirt gun over your icon. That's what
Anything.
you deserve.
Hey, it's a BB gun. That's perfectly safe.
Okay, well, let's focus.
But anyway, so I always felt, thinking about it now, I always felt like I put up like a wall or a curtain between myself and my students, not wanting to really personally connect with these students and really try and deeply guide them down a better path, I guess would be the best way to say it. Or, just because I would always correct their behaviors, like shitty behaviors I'd see, like, don't talk shit about your friends like that.
Man, that's some
Stuff like that.
I could never do that.
But, stopping fights and beefs between students.
Oh, yeah.
Easier stuff like that. Like, come on, my first year I had to stop 2 fights right in front of my classroom. Like, what is wrong with these kids? Ruining lunch for me.
We all know that hallway,
my half an hour. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that hallway.
Ruining my half an hour of lunch. Gosh dang it. Actually, ruining over an hour of lunches. Come on.
I know. I'm
That's
stuck
besides
in
the
a
point,
room with no windows, so.
Okay, though. Like, okay. At least the way we settled beef, at least whenever my brothers had beef with someone, was they went in the forest and fought with like 3 or 4 of their friends. And that was that.
I mean, you're still fighting, but you shouldn't resolve your.
You're doing it away. You're actually resolving
What do you
it,
think?
not
Okay,
in
where are
a
they
like
gonna fight?
peacocking,
Where are they gonna
cockamamie
fight?
way.
They're gonna fight at
Bro,
school.
Don't fight in school, after school, like somewhere like at the
Fight on
no
the road.
geographical locations. Don't fight on the road. The cops will be there immediately. If you really want to fight with somebody, go into the forest somewhere. Like, we live pretty close to wilderness, and that's not doxing us in any way. there's so many places close to wilderness.
RuneScape.
Yeah, just go in the forest and scrap with a few friends, and then squash it, settle.
Alright, guys, keep it easy.
If you really have a problem that bad where you need to resolve, yeah, look into fisticuffs, where you feel like you need to fight. Bring a few friends. Don't bring any weapons or guns. Just dukes, and that's it.
Alright, it says the god of guns, but okay. What do you? Well,
Okay,
I
well,
have some
that's a whole
opinions on
different
that.
thing.
I have this opinion. I want to see what Detox says about that. What do you think? Fights or no fights?
About what?
Well,
I
scrapping
one was
to resolve an issue.
So, growing up in my upbringing, I was told from several teachers, hey, you know, if you really got beef with somebody and you're really gonna throw it out, don't throw it out in school, because at that point
It's a place of
you're
knowledge.
asking. Well, it's for academia
Besides that.
purposes only.
Yes, it's a sacred place of knowledge. Okay.
Well, if you're fighting in school, one, it's because you want people to see you fight, but two, it's really because you want someone to stop the fight. And I've had educators tell me, you know, if you really want to beef someone, go somewhere else that is not the school. Like AK had said, you know, go to the wilderness, go to the forest, the park, wherever, where, you know, if you, like, worst case scenario, like, I don't agree with violence. It's like there's no other choice and you're just not getting through, you know, don't fight at school. If it really has to happen, just don't do it at school. Go take care of it somewhere else.
Honestly, what I said was a bit irresponsible, so I'll recant a bit of that. I will say you should probably like settle out in an actual boxing ring. At least that way you can show off and stuff like that, and go through with the actual fight. And hey, who knows? You can monetize it, bro.
Yeah, so what are we teaching our kids these days? Oh man.
Hey, as long as it's better than fighting in
Resolve your
school,
issues
I'm all
outside
for
of
it.
school. Education is broken. Oh, there's no way to fix it.
One other thing I want to hash about, I don't want to say the opposite, but kind of like in line with the whole, you know, I really appreciated a teacher who'd call me out. There was another teacher, I'll say in a middle school that we had attended. I guess I say an English teacher. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this one, but this educator was very passionate about English and reading and literature.
Can we talk about ARs? Is that doxable?
Well, if we say when we did the ARs, that might dox us.
Okay, but yeah, she was great. I liked her.
Yes,
And she got
was an educator who was truly passionate about the field that she was educating people in, and that made the world of difference. Even if you're not, you know, even if I wasn't the biggest fan of English reading and all that, this educator in a way made me excited and happy to go to their class, because in my head I was thinking, all right, what's I don't want to sound evil, but what's the next thing that's going to come out of this person's mouth? But at the end of the day, I always found it interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just like the way she like did reading, because you know, I'm not a fan of reading. Like, go figure, right? Like, I'm a person who writes, but you know, she was right. Like, you just haven't found anything interesting to read, and that's true to this day. And then she just let you read whatever you felt like reading. And you know, we have a.
No, you're missing out.
I know, but you know, my brain just like.
Hey, no worries.
It's like, this is not interesting. Go do something else interesting, right?
Your
But,
brain
you know,
can't.
I can't.
You have no imagination.
It's like reading a text. If I read something that's not interesting, it feels like a textbook, and I hate reading textbooks. Right?
Okay,
and
well,
my brain shuts off, and I'm like, But then you know, as like I went to like high school, like I got a book I was really interested in, and then I was excited to read about, you know, what was in this book. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. It's not
Maximum Ride was dog shit. Okay.
Maximum Ride, it was alright. It was a teen book. If I'm being
I
real.
admit it's dog shit, but then I'd say like it was dog shit,
That
but
doesn't-
it helped a lot with ARs.
Okay, I will not. I will also say that it was actually pretty decent when I read through all of them. I read through all of them, but I read through the last two when I was like in my 20s, I think, and it was like, at that point. I was out of that age already.
Yeah.
That was relatable.
Going back to this teacher in particular, like she had a really good system going where she let you read anything. Like anything.
As long as you read, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like you kids just
yeah.
need to read. Like reading is important. You should diversify, your reading skills, your comprehension skills, and then I agree with that. A lot of people don't read because a lot of it's not interesting, or it's just for like ARs and stuff. Like if it was an AR book that was like below your reading level, like you can't read that. But then she let you do that as long as it's not like a kid's book, right? I think she had like a standard of like it needs to have like
it needs to be a chapter book. Yes, it needs to be a chapter book. It has to be mostly words.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Because
don't bring me Berenstein Bears or Berenstein.
Yeah.
What is it? Berenstain.
Berenstain, yeah. There's Berenstain.
Yeah. That's that Mandela effect.
Yeah. I was like, wrong dimension. Yeah.
Yeah, though. Actually, in that regard, I think I have been a good educator, especially with physical education. At least when I was doing that, I was working with primary school students.
Didn't she run like a talent?
That was
like,
really fun.
Talent club, whatever. She ran that, right?
Did I run a talent club?
No, the.
Oh yeah.
The English teacher. She ran a talent club.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a couple friends who were like in that. Like, oh.
And who capitalized on that?
Who capitalized on that?
Nobody.
Talent?
Hmm.
Who capitalized on talent?
The only talent I can foreseeably...
you're talking about who capitalized on their talent in that club. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Did anybody do that? I'm not aware of anybody. I may be
not anybody in that club in particular,
someone.
But I think we all know a specific person on a certain sports team who
No, stop that. Nope, I don't want to. Nope.
Not him? Not even that guy.
Oh, I wasn't.
He was in middle school and in high school. He sung.
I was thinking of someone completely different.
Oh, not that guy?
No, not even a guy.
Oh.
I don't know who any of you guys are talking about. You need to update me in the chat or something later.
We're going off here, but I wanna kind of merge that whole thing back into the education. So, B-Lot, you said you really liked how this teacher told you to read. They gave that push, right? But you kind of pulled. It's like, well, I don't find certain things interesting, and they pushed you back with like, okay, well, you know what? Read whatever you want, but like they gave certain stipulations. It's got to be a chapter book, but like they they didn't really care what you read, right? As long as you read. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay. So when it comes back to the whole, I know. Yes, there's that motivation, but it's because there were things that those books that you read. I'm gonna ask you this: did you understand those books that you enjoyed reading? Did you understand what they were saying?
Yes.
Yes, and do you think that's part of the reason why you enjoyed it? I'm asking this as a person. Do you think part of the reason why you enjoyed those books that you yourself enjoyed? Do you think you enjoyed them because you understood them?
Yes, I think that's generally for like any kind of story.
Yeah.
If you just read words, it's not technically reading. You're just reading words. You read stories to understand a story.
Well, I'm just talking about in the scheme of you reading the books. Do you think that you being able to understand the literature made you interested in it?
So by me reading books, maybe better at understanding literature, is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
Mind if I try to re-explain it, Detox?
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
translator, help.
So, understanding the underlying themes in the story, did that help with like your enjoyment of the novel?
Understanding the
Is that
themes?
what you're trying to say, Detox?
Kinda, yeah.
So, by me understanding the themes within the story, did it help me read better? Is that what you're saying?
Did it help you enjoy it better?
Yeah, enjoy it more. Like,
I don't think at the time, but nowadays it does.
Okay. So what my end game here was, when it comes to reading, right? So there's certain things you find interesting, you're motivated to read it, and it's like, if outside looking at it, it's because you understand it. There's things that really speak to you as a person individually or in your mind. But I want to wrap it up.
Never found those books.
Oh, you're missing
Oh,
out.
what? Yes. Dude,
Bro,
what?
it's all in
Like, it
fucking-
doesn't even have to be fiction. It can be non-fiction
It's
too, man.
words. And get intimidated by words. If it's
Okay,
got
yeah,
pictures, it's got pictures.
I can see
That's
that.
why I read anime. It's got moving pictures.
Are you scared to use your beautiful brain to imagine, my friend?
Yes,
Use it.
it's a nightmare up here.
Okay, let me ask you this, Bilal. Do you think you're an adult? You know, you're relatively smart. But do you? I'm asking
bot
this.
here?
In the grand scheme of literature and things that you can absorb through reading, as a person, do you think you are, in a sense, intimidated by certain genres because you don't understand some of what it encapsulates, I guess?
Intimidated by genres?
Yes.
I mean, like, I play video games, like video games and books. Is that kind of
No,
like that
okay,
genre,
let me-
or like the genre
let me
type
see,
of
like-
book?
like romantic novels. Would you say that you were turned off from reading those because, you know, maybe you don't understand certain themes going on in there?
No, because I don't find it interesting. I don't
You
read
don't-
romantic novels because I need to find it interesting first, and then I feel compelled to read it. And if it doesn't capture my attention within like a day, then
Mhm.
I don't want to read it.
Okay.
Within
That's
a
just how
day?
my brain works. But you know, it's like
Bro.
if it's a video game, then it's like, oh, I'm pressing buttons and I'm reading, so it's fine. This is how it works.
Pero, hold up. I
What's
quickly know whether I like a book or written the kind almost instantly. Within like a chapter or two, I'm like, bruh, okay, we're throwing this one out. Or,
Well,
okay,
I'm so
let's
happy
go.
for you, AK, but that's not how my brain works.
Okay, wait.
I'm
hold on.
sorry.
It's,
The wrong
I can't.
That
I
must
can't.
suck.
It sucks.
That must suck.
yes.
But sorry,
It
sorry.
really
Let's go back
sucks.
to your direction detox.
I totally messed up my analogy. Okay, so better point. Okay, I'm gonna ask both of you, in humanity, could you agree with me when you say that the unknown is scary?
Yes.
Yes, also fascinating.
Okay, yes, there we go. So, but why is the unknown scary? Why?
Because we don't know what it is. We can't define it. At least that's what it is for me. Like the perfect example I'll give you. You ever been at the drop-off of a reef around sunset?
Jesus, fuck, that's scary.
Personally, I haven't, but
I would never put my life in the
Okay,
lines
and
like that. But
look up, we can find some pictures. I'll look for a picture of that. But there's like, it's just this. You see the,
Black
I wish I
abyss.
had a picture of this. Well,
you're
you
staring
just
down
see
a
like the
fucking
light and
hole.
stuff around you, and then you look down, and it's just black after like 5, not even 5, maybe like 10 or 20 feet.
And
After
you
that,
just want to
is
dive into
inky
that? Fuck that.
darkness. Like one time, my cousin dropped his goggles down there. I had fins. I could easily get it, and I was like, I ain't going anywhere near that dark unknown abyss.
That's fucking scary.
Exactly. Also fascinating.
All right, so on the contrary, could you agree that the things that we do know about, or the things that we are knowledgeable about, aren't that scary?
Just farted.
What's gonna
I
happen
don't know.
was
There are. I thought that was a chair squeaking or something. I was about to write that off.
I was like, there's no way you just farted. Oh, bro, you're kind of.
Oh, and knowing my microphone, I got fucking caught. Of course.
Oh,
Bro, that reef story got me like shitting, bro.
yeah. Like, yeah, it is just viscerally terrifying. These pictures don't do it justice.
Okay.
All right, let me wrap this up here. Then what I wanted to get to.
Okay.
My thing with this whole
Try not
thing
to shit the
is
bed while you're at it.
the unknown is scary because we don't know. We can't understand it. And I was trying to say on the contrary, you know, the things that we do understand aren't as scary. Or if there's some basis of knowledge in a particular field or something, you would be more inclined to further your education in that field. You know what I mean? If you found it interesting. So my thing in education, a lot of, you know, I'm going to bring it to the core things like math and English and all that. I feel like a lot of that is intimidating to students because they don't understand it. But the thing with teachers, the struggle is, how do we get the kids to understand this, and that is like the biggest struggle.
Yeah, I agree. Right.
And it's like you don't even have to get them to fully understand something. It's just getting your foot in the door. You know what I mean? How do you open the door just enough to get them interested to dive in on their own?
Right. How can we introduce this topic without being like so overwhelming for them to just like give up? Yeah.
Yes. And I think that is it's a very problematic thing. And if you ask me though, I don't want to say specifically in education, but like in everyday life, I feel like all you can do is your best. You know what I mean? All you can do is your best and just be better than what you knew, not to be all philosophical.
And as educators, I think both of us, all we ask is for you to just try, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Just give us some effort.
I might be a little bit different there. I just am very interested naturally in things. I have a very intense natural curiosity. But do we have anything else? Are we?
I think we that's a perfect way
Stop
to
in
end this podcast.
Hey.
Alright.
Give us some effort, guys. And then hopefully, we got some future educators out there. This is what you gotta have to deal with. And then hopefully you will be the generation or the person to solve all these problems. Alright. You're gonna call it then, yeah?
Outro?
Outro?
Can I run it?
Yeah, you can do an outro. Go ahead.
Alright, well, I might botch this here and there, but so shout out to B-Lot, shout out to AK for being here. Much appreciated, everybody. If you tuned in to listen even a little bit, you're here at the end, beginning, you didn't listen, just thank you for listening. And we're happy to be here. So hope y'all have a good night.
Oh,
S.P.E.D Force.
Here.
See you later.
Bye.